When Dr. Law was born, she was genetically designed by her parents. She has baby blue hair, with a pair of red amber eyes. She was gifted with a talent for awareness, granting her extremely high grades growing up. As she developed and learned her passion for science, she joined the HCS lab, and it granted her access to countless experimental prototypes and technologies. Dr. Law has cybernetics and implants hidden inside her body that have helped with her work. One of Dr. Law's friends, Dr. Amberson, has recently made progress on a new branch of technology, bloodlines. Bloodlines are formed by tiny machines that resemble viruses and cells, but in reality act like a factory with a DNA-coded artificial intelligence allowing for rapid adaptation. These factories can affect and charge the cells around them or that they have entered. The bloodline nodes can also treat injuries and damaged cells, allowing for a prolonged life. Bloodline nodes can avoid the natural immune system with the help of cell-relaxing agents. In a short 40 years, the renowned Dr. Su had made a breakthrough in biomechanical technology, allowing for prosthetic limbs and printed flesh to properly circulate bloodline nodes in the limb and organs, allowing for many powerful limbs to be created that can maximize the force used by a bloodline. There are fully converted humans who don't have any human pieces remaining aside from their soul. Dr. Law, thanks to her connections and creations, he had enough liquid assets to become a fully converted human, to the point even if her brain were to be destroyed, as long as the brain chip's intact, she could be revived in a clone body. Dr. Law herself is a prodigy of the Humanity Combined Science Community, HCS for short, and on her 433rd birthday, she was gifted a nanoweave lab coat. This coat had been an experimental creation by her friend Dr. Heartfire. It has many advanced features, but it was clearly designed for scientific work capable of defending against rogue explosions and shrapnel. The fabric was compressed using an atom folding technology, and it was originally designed to protect the administrator. However, the lab coat failed to surpass 95 on the Mohs scale. As a result, Dr. Heartfire was allowed to keep it, and she had given it away to Dr. Law. During her many years of work, Dr. Law has been granted an admin-grade AI implant. A prideful event for any scientist, her breakthrough in antimatter storage and anti-split fabrication, while it was very experimental with a 33.3% chance of duplication, and even then it's a low number of antimatter particles to split. Dr. Law had the AI implant fused to her brain chip. The days fly as she adapts to her new implant and its cognition enhancements thanks to this break. Dr. Law had a chance away from her test to chat with other scientists, while talking to Dr. Chike. He was obsessed with the idea of powerful genetic potions and bloodlines. His goal is to become so powerful he could survive even in space. While they had chatted, Dr. Chike had introduced her to his collection of gene potions and experimental gene potions. Dr. Chike asked if she could help him with some brainstorming, and after spending a few days with him, the pair had developed a bloodline named Space-Touched Skin with a 74% success rate, allowing cells to survive in a vacuum. Law decided to leave after the project, having fully adapted to the AI chip. She felt she had gained a new friend in Dr. Chike, as well as discovered many new interesting concepts. Walking along the halls towards her own lab, she mused how he's not that scary for such a hulking man. Walking back to her room, she had fully adapted to her new AI. Looking out of a large window, she saw many unique ships zooming around. Just then she saw a slower, larger ship moving. She couldn't help but think back to when she had been assigned here. Dr. Law was sitting inside a large private room on the Azzy transport ship. The room was fairly decorated and it had felt quite comfortable. However, Dr. Law couldn't focus on the comforts. Looking outside the window, she feels stressed out. She had recently consumed a life extension potion for plus 300 years. However, even with over 300 years of life, the scientists who are based here are ancient monsters of even 6,000 years. If she can't find some way to make a name for herself, she might just die before she could find the secrets to the universe. Dr. Law was taken to the sign-in hall and she was greeted with only 31 other students. She wasn't surprised. The test she had to take was really abnormal. Most of the topics were revolving around concepts you would have to be in the right place at the right time to discover. That's not even mentioning the written test for general knowledge. It wasn't any less intense. Sighing to herself, she looked at the receptionist, and to her surprise, it was a scientist she was familiar with. Her name is Dr. Juniper, and she has won a Nobel Prize on social awareness. And the key to seeing the heart of actions and words, Dr. Juniper. Dr. Law didn't get a chance to be amazed for long, as another scientist had entered the room, and the first impression was huge. This man was at least 8 feet tall, and he had muscles to match. Dr. Law and the other new recruits instantly stood at attention. The man introduced himself as Dr. Chike. Gathering everyone, he began to guide them around the sections of the HCS lab. The lab was astonishingly large. It covers nearly half of the artificial planet. It is named HS2. The HCS lab itself is the single largest structure on a planet, natural or artificial. Dr. Law, while looking at a large building where scientists test simulation concepts. Her thoughts drifted. The pure size of the lab, something she was finding hard to really picture even with her own eyes. The HCS lab is located on an artificial planet the size of Mars. The artificial planet has become a fully developed megacity planet, and with the growth of technology. She was forcefully brought back to attention when Dr. Chike coughed. Dr. Law let out a sheepish smile as she began to follow him with the rest of the group. As they walked, Dr. Chike told them, they are joining during the 41st decade of the HSC lab, and they should have pride in that, since they get to make use of the founders and their hard work. He let out a booming laugh as he continued the tour. Snapping back to reality, Dr. Law glanced back at the ship that she had once had arrived on. Now that she had access to so many friends and concepts, she was practically boiling with ideas, and she didn't waste any time rushing back to her personal lab to start integrating the AI with all her knowledge so it could help her fully. During the 42nd decade of the HCS lab, Dr. Law was exposed to the concept of the multiverse during a conversation with Dr. Ethan, and she was transfixed. This had led to a spiral. Some rumors say it's good to explore the idea, while others think a genius has gone down the road of a failed grand project. Having spent nearly all her money on scientific equipment, during her side experiments she had earned plenty of HCS reputation points, and with them she had a specialized lab built on a rogue asteroid. The process was quite something and expensive, but Dr. Law had no issues when she knew how dangerous her experiments could get if it's real. The asteroid was given the name Polly. Nearing the end of the 44th decade, Dr. Law was comfortably sitting in her HCS-branded asteroid lab, Polly C24. Having made some progress and after scrapping 3 models, she had finally made a breakthrough on model number 48.1. She managed to create a multiversal rift in the simulated space. She didn't waste any time as she ran towards her testing chambers, going deeper into the core of the asteroid. Inside the core was a large room with equipment connected to a large meta-environment controlled room. The containment defenses are capable of containing energy equal to 150 megatons of TNT. Setting up the devices, she input the model and pressed start. Model 4.8.1b began to initiate its program. The room began to hum with activity as the nanobots began to vibrate and emit gravity and magnetic fields in the recorded pattern. There was a sudden sound of snapping in the room. She could hear the meta-chamber vibrating and cracking. After a few moments there was a burst of light in the chamber. A orb of white light burst into existence, quickly shifting to purple, indigo, then to yellow. The color stopped changing and began to swirl. After less than 0.3 seconds the colors began fading, returning to white. Dr. Law watched with interest as a shimmering portal that looked like a white whirlpool with specks of other colors in the air. She was still extremely excited. After 2.45 seconds, there was a violent burst of air from the portal. The wind thrashed against walls of the container. This instantly cut the power to the device containing the link to the model, the safety measures having been a step too late. Speaking of the wind's speed and violence, Dr. Law was extremely excited to have made some progress, and as she was watching the robots clean up the space, she had caught sight of something. She ordered one of the robots to pick it up, when the robot had passed it through the transfer slot. Picking up the leaf, Dr. Law was delighted to discover a leaf. The shape of the leaf was quite strange. It appeared to have crystalline veins that faintly glowed with a golden yellow light. Taking an environmental controlled container off the shelf, she sealed the leaf. However, to her disappointment, Let alone studying the leaf is extremely hard to properly contain or preserve. The golden yellow light seemed to be bleeding away even after all her attempts to make it survive. Regardless, while she had it, she didn't waste the chance to experiment. After a few tests, she was shocked to discover the leaf was a 179 on the Mohs scale. Even the Star Destroyer ships only have a hull rating of 112 Mohs. However, as the light bled from the leaf, that rating dropped rapidly. After all the light in the leaf had faded, it became a beautiful yet fragile, its color completely drained when the power had left it. By the time Dr. Law had finished her research, she had passed her 691st birthday and the HCS lab had passed into its 48th decade, and with the leaf losing its experimental value, she had returned to fully focusing on multiverse travel. On model number 5.5.3-2D.G. The 4429th test was initiated, the room rapidly filled with light and there was the sounds of the air popping so loud it visibly caused a crack to appear nearly 30 feet long, the sound reaching her through the glass causing her synthetic ears to close, a protection gate blocking the sound. Law slammed her hand towards the kill switch. The danger was clear. However, before she could react, there was a red crack that appeared in the center of the chamber. The light rapidly spreading and shifted to dark red, then eye-catching golden green. Before she could marvel or focus on pressing the kill switch, a cataclysmic explosion erupted, tearing through space itself. The folded titanium and nuclear-resistant walls were torn to pieces, far too fast for even Dr. Law's advanced senses could. The world shattered into a vortex of chaotic energy, her AI screaming warnings, before everything went dark. Then, silence. A deep breath. The air was thick with something new. Law's eyes snapped open. Before her, towering trees stretched into the sky above, ancient, massive and brimming with an unknown force that tingled against her skin. The sky was different, it shined with specks of light as if there were fairies. Her synthetic eyes quickly began to break apart the world around her. There were countless different colors of energy, shimmering in every color of the rainbow. There are two different shades to the rainbow, a brighter and darker color. However, it didn't take long for the rainbow of energy to fade, the streams of white, red and purple energy to remain circulating. The energy around her was beyond alien, it was completely unheard of. Before she could keep taking in the sights, her AI began to chime loudly. XM class warning, wireless energy source lost. Connection to HCS mother AI lost, coordinates lost. WD protocol engaged, reserved energy tanks lowering by predicted 10% for WD protocol engagement. Biomechanical links converting to generation mode. All sensory data beginning to be logged. Storage containers converting to energy-saving mode temporarily restricted for 53.11 seconds. WD-1.1 protocol has begun activation, experimental parts converting to reliability mode. Her AI continued to bombard her with alerts, each one informing her about her emergency protocol's activation. Dr. Law was quick to recover from her disorientation, her AI flooding her brain with artificial GABA, allowing her artificial brain to relax. One thing had become clear to her. She has been thrown into another world. Before she could react, a new alert flickered in her vision. Emergency notice, AI model P44 activating, new mechanic discovery number 214 encountered, now logging. New energetic supercritical fluid detected. Unknown impacts on the body, activating isolation and analysis. Initial notes, Experiment 1, test, manipulating and containing supercritical fluid, location, artificial flesh, results, containment and manipulation possible with all forms of energy containment, solid containment, fluid containment and plasma containment. Supercritical fluid holds a constant energy output of 1.4 gigajoules. Energy quickly decays to entropy when no connection to the external environment. Test. Exposure of supercritical fluid to cells. Experiment 2 location experimental cell exposure organ. Results. The supercritical fluid quickly enters the cell and begins to charge both biomechanical and mechanical cellular machines. Her AI's voice continued to report, no longer rushing alerts but reporting analytically and systematically.